What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today I'm going to hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on Side B of Drake's album Scorpion. Now, I already hit you up with my thoughts and opinions on Side A, so you can swing by the channel and check that out. But this review right here is going to be much more quick and not as in-depth because I don't think there's as much to break down here. Side A was the rap side where he was really bringing some decent content and messing around with a couple of different styles. But with this singing side here, you're getting a lot of that very dreary, monotonous Drake. He's certainly one of those singers who has a drab vocal style that doesn't bring much in the way of layers and harmonies. So as you listen through this project, it can get pretty damn boring. As a fan of R&B, I really appreciate singers who can hit a lot of notes, bring interesting harmonies and layers, just that stuff that gives you chills and makes you want to sing along. But there are plenty of times on this side where Drake is just droning on and it's not very interesting. For just a couple examples of this, you can check the song Finesse, where he sings with the range of a boiled parsnip. Not a big fan of Drake singing, but hey, that's just me. And when it comes to the production on this one, it's mostly just that hazy, atmospheric stuff that you would expect from Drake, so I didn't think the production on this was awful, but again, it is very gloomy and dreary in a lot of spots, and when you take that and put it with this vocal style, it makes for a very dull listen, man. That's something I really didn't like about this side, is just how flat it felt. Really didn't have a lot of high points, although there were some things I liked about it, and I will talk about that later. However, one of the things a lot of people were curious about and talking about after they heard it was that MJ sample on the song Don't Matter to Me. A lot of people were curious to see what he'd be doing here. There were plenty of Billie Jean jokes because of all the shit going on with Drake and his, with his son and his baby mama. But instead we got some unreleased vocals that really didn't bring too much to this track. I just felt like this track kind of sounded like one of those radio hits that The Weeknd would put out. Not to say MJ sounds just like The Weeknd, although the comparisons are certainly there. But more so just with the production and everything else happening with it. So I wasn't a big fan of this track. The MJ vocals certainly didn't do a lot to make it much better. So this was kind of a disappointing moment, at least as far as using an MJ sample goes. And we do have some more disappointing moments, so I'm going to keep it going, man. We're just going to roll through this shit. We have the song Final Fantasy, which really disappointed my inner nerd. I was just hoping to hear a Kefka reference, or maybe even something about Shadow, because we all know he's so bad, he slit his mama's throat for a nickel. That's a throwback that people will appreciate it. They know what I'm talking about. But if not, all you get on here is a little bit of a Final Fantasy sample, nothing too deep or memorable. I just really wish he had some type of concept or more references. I'm not saying he had to go all out geeky and all out nerdy, but if you're going to call a song Final Fantasy, come the fuck on, man. People are going to see that and really want more from it. So that was one disappointing part. Then with Ratchet Happy Birthday, we got one of the goofiest Drake songs in existence, especially with this bar. You talk so tough, I know you're soft like buttercups. Reese's, don't be ridiculous. It's just awful, just really one of the worst Drake tracks I've ever heard. And, there are some positives here, so I'm going to get into those right now. This isn't going to be a long review because, like I said, I don't have as much to say here. I did like the production on Blue Tint. I thought that beat had a little bit of slap to it, so that's something you could work with if you just want something in the car. Then with After Dark, we're getting this sexy 90s R&B type jam with great vocals from Static Major and Ty Dolla. I really like this one. It just had a bit of a funky feel to it. And of course, Nice for What is one of my favorite tracks on Side A and Side B. I just think it's really a fun summertime jam that's going to work perfectly for the car, sunny days, barbecues, pool parties, all that shit. And the song In My Feelings is in that same vein. It has more of those New Orleans bounce elements, but it's not quite as good as Nice for What. Still a good track, and I think I could see that one coming into the mix once in a while. But other than that, the most memorable moment is probably March 14th. This is one of those outro tracks where Drake is just barring you to fuck, and the topic this time around is just how he's trying to struggle with fatherhood. He's out on tour all the time, and he's not with the woman, so he's not seeing his child as much as he should, and he also equates that to what it was like for him to grow up with a mother and father who weren't together. There's certainly some great moments here, although at one part he talks about how he's only seen his son one time in this very long stretch, which to me says, come on, man, you got to see your son. Even if it's with this girl you don't want to be with, I just find it kind of weird that you wouldn't want to see your son more than that, although, he's very busy. I don't live his life. I'm just giving you my opinion. But even still, man, it does seem like Drake is showing a bit of growth here and just trying to find his way. It did make me cringe a little bit on the end, though, when he sings about trying to go from a boy to a man, because this dude is 31 years old, and this is one of my problems with Drake, is that some of his content seems immature, especially for how old he is. That line right there, and even the way that he sings about relationships on some of these tracks is just very juvenile and made for teenagers. I get it, those are the people who probably buy the most Drake and support the most Drake, but even still, just the way he sings about relationships and women just does not seem very adult-like. It often seems like he expects them to put their life on hold and change for him and do everything for him because, he's just trying to figure it all out and he's an artist and blah, blah, blah. So that's something I don't really care for about Drake. And that's why a lot of the lovey-dovey tracks on this didn't reach me at all. There weren't a lot of strong moments with the songwriting, although some people find it interesting because they think some of this is about Georgia Smith and a bunch of other starlets. If you're into that gossipy shit, I'm sure some of these lines are going to hit you like, wow, is he talking about her? But if not, I don't really see you being too excited by these dreary, dull Drake singing tracks. But hey man, that's just what I got to say about this one. I would give this side a 2 out of 5 because it's just pretty boring throughout. There are only a couple of tracks here I like. So that means Scorpion altogether is a 2.5 out of 5, man. I don't think it's all out trash because there are certainly a handful of tracks here that I like. But out of an album that's this long, to only like maybe 6 or 7 tracks or whatever it is, that is not a good ratio, man. There are some other tracks that are kind of decent, but even still, there's not a lot here that makes me think of this as a great double disc. And that's where I stand. 2.5 out of 5 seems fair. But you can hit me up in the comment section with your thoughts and let me know what you think. And of course, make sure you swing by all my social media sites so you can show me love and show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.